Hi, I'm Sandy Brown, Mayor of the Town of Orangeville. Welcome to Talk 519 on Rogers TV. This is where we discuss issues that matter most to the citizens of Orangeville and Dufferin County. December 3rd, 2018, the new council was sworn in. 7 new members, all new to politics, all with a commitment to being respectful, to being fiscally responsible, and with an eye to sustainability of the town. We've got a seasoned and knowledge staff that's helped us to achieve our goals, and we're now at year 1 of their 4-year term. Tonight joining me is Councillor Debbie Sherwood, and we're going to review the first year of office and talk about what's going on the holidays. So welcome to the show, Debbie.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Brown, for inviting me here today. I'm so thrilled to celebrate our first year on council and as well as the holiday season.
So, you know, not everybody knows the background of each councillor, but you know, I'm wondering if you could describe your career. You had 31 years in municipal government, and primarily in the area of taxation. So you're a number cruncher, and you've been following taxes in Orangeville for many, many years. So tell us about your career and what you did exactly.
Well, definitely being a councillor has been very different than being an employee. There's no doubt about that. But working 31 years for municipal government in a financial role as a tax collector and deputy treasurer, I think is assisting me with this role as a councillor. It's definitely in my blood because I've been in part of political municipal government for quite some time, as you mentioned, 30 plus years. But I'm actually very honored to be a municipal councillor.
Yeah, and you know, something else that you did in your municipal career before you got into politics involved customer service, right? You had to deal with the public quite often on issues. So you appreciate the some of the challenges that are faced by town staff in their jobs.
For sure. So sometimes I can kind of look at the council side and go, I've been in the inside and I know what those employees do, and actually we have a great team behind us that make us look really good too. They make our work a lot easier.
Yeah. Although you know, none of the council had been, you know, in politics prior to our election, we were kind of thrown into the fire with a budget right off the bat, right off the get-go. And how did your experience, and you know, you obviously were part of budgetary process in your time, so you probably had a bit of a leg up than some of the other councillors.
Well, actually, if I look about it as my role as a tax collector, I heard about the struggles and the hardship from people that were really trying to work hard with these property tax increases, and so I had to work a lot with individuals to kind of compromise and make it possible for the people to pay and the abilities that they can, but also I had to take into consideration the financial needs of the municipality to keep running. So basically I decided in my retirement, as part of my passion to serve the community that I've lived in for 40 years. I've raised 3 children here. They're all adults now, and I have 5 grandchildren that are being raised within Dufferin County. So I decided now is my time to help make those decisions that affect the residents' personal pocketbooks, and I feel that I should be part of making those decisions after experiencing how difficult it was for some people to really deal with those tax increases.
I think I felt fortunate, I don't know whether you did, Debbie, but that the town staff had kind of laid out a very good path for us in our first budget. The ask was quite low to begin with. We did manage to trim a little bit back, and you know, the tax increase of 0.82% that was put forward by council in January, February of 2019 was almost historically low.
I think that we need to be extremely proud of that, because that was a great accomplishment, considering that most of us ran our platform on being fiscally responsibility, and of course the word out there. Everyone was like, high taxes, high taxes. And like I said, even my role in municipal government, that's all we ever heard.
Yeah.
So to come in with 0.82 was a great accomplishment. And yes, we have staff to thank for that.
Yeah. So we're, I think we're cognizant of service level and cost, and we're trying to make some decisions where we're not trying not to affect service level, but trying to affect the cost. And I know, for instance, the OPP decision that has recently been rendered is one of those rare opportunities where service level looks like it's going to be about the same or maybe even better with a significant cost savings. And it's, again, I feel after all of the evidence was put out in front of council, for me, it was an easy decision to make.
And I agree. I believe this council, and I know myself, we did our due diligence, and we didn't rush at this process. I think we did a great great opportunity of research and really getting our facts together. And hiring the consultant, I think, was the best decision we had to make.
Right.
Yes, sometimes it's hard decision to make, but I really do stand by my particular decision.
Your vote. I echo what you say about the consultant, because the calculation of levels of service and the cost and the billing, it is somewhat complicated. And I think I felt after this consultant had finished his presentation at council that I understood it much more clearly, and I think it reinforced what my thoughts were previously. Do you feel the same way?
Absolutely, and we all went in there. None of us were experts on policing.
Right.
So for us to go in and blindly make a decision like that just wouldn't be realistic. So like I say now, I think with all the facts that were given to us, and I do believe there is kind of a silent majority out there that really wanted us to make this decision the way we did.
Right. So I remember one of the first things that I did when I was elected, and it was even, I think, before we were sworn in, I went to a conference up in Aurelia for mayors and deputy mayors, primarily for new mayors and deputy mayors to be introduced and to explain the responsibilities. And something that I learned there was, the mayor really can't make any decision on their own. The only decision I can make is to declare an emergency if that ever happens. But all decisions are made by council, and we have an equal vote. There's 7 of us, and we have to collaborate, and we have to work together towards a goal, and respect everybody's opinion. And that was one of the surprises for me, was kind of going from, in my private life, being able to make my own decisions and kind of take my business in the direction I wanted without really consulting anybody, and then moving into this consultative team
environment,
approach.
right? Yeah.
That was what about you? Like, what you went from, municipal employee to councillor. What kind of changes did you, see in your life in that time?
It's funny because one of the first things I've learned now as a new role as a councillor is that it's not just about high property taxes. All of a sudden, I realize that people have concerns on speeding in their neighborhood, or all of a sudden they have parks and recreation needs, or someone else is concerned about the snow removal or garbage pickup or property standards. So all of a sudden, my range of knowledge seems to have to be broadened, and like I say, before I was thinking, okay, it was just all about taxes, and it isn't, because obviously the operations of a municipality contain many, many services.
Right. I want to talk about, some of the good things that have happened in 2019 in our first year. So one of those things is Data Orangeville. Now, I know that previous council kind of started that process, and this is, our IT department has developed a number of really interesting technological information gathering, I guess, portals, and kind of mesh them all together into something called Data Orangeville. And it was really, it was available in the background, but they launched it really I think in March, maybe.
Just a few months ago,
Just a few months ago.
Yes.
And it's really amazing. And what are your thoughts about communication and how this is going to help us move forward and be able to communicate better with residents?
Well, we do know that, people are really going to digital social media and a lot of online applications now. That's the way we seem to be going, especially with all our millennials that are so tech savvy. But Data Orangeville is great. I mean, there's planning information on there. You can find parking spaces on there. And one of the things I'm extremely proud of is our heritage properties are on there. There's photographs with descriptions of the property, with the building styles, information regarding some of the early settlers in there. And I think this is something that we can be really proud of. I know we have won some awards for that, and staff needs to be really commended for the great work they've done. But we're just beginning with Data Orangeville. It's data.orangeville.ca, and I encourage every citizen to take a look, and I know that we'll be building on that even bigger.
Well, I know council has approved some budget for improving our overall communications, both internally and externally. And new website is being worked on now, mobile app, and I think this is going to be great for everyone in town to be able to have this information easily accessible. And I don't want to really disparage the existing website, but things have moved so much further technologically wise from when that website was developed that
we have to keep ahead.
We have to keep up with
for sure.
the municipal Joneses in our world, and it looks like that's going to happen in 2020. It should be available to us. So.
And as you're mentioning about keeping up with technology, the Orangeville Public Library just launched the mobile app.
Right.
So, there's all kinds of ways of getting a book and checking it in and, renewing your
right.
renewing it.
And for those who don't know, the Orangeville Library has a lot of online content, both books, magazine, and newspaper publications that, I would highly recommend going to the website or even stopping in at the library and learning about how to access the digital content that the Orangeville Library has. It's really quite remarkable. In fact, I used it recently. We had the passing of a mayor here recently, Gord Courtney, and I was asked to speak at the funeral. I went in and did a little bit of research prior to on his life, and found archives of past newspaper articles, and so. Anyway, we have to take a break here, but we'll be back shortly to talk about other things like Heritage Orangeville. Thank you, Debbie, for joining us, and we'll be back in a minute.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Talk 519 on Rogers TV, and today welcoming back my guest, Councillor Debbie Sherwood. So Debbie, we've had a busy first year. We want to continue our discussion there. For instance, the town this year has hired a climate change coordinator to help develop a climate adaptation plan and policy for the town. So things like the flooding issues that we've had are going to be looked at, but also how the town as a whole can embrace reduction of greenhouse gases and other climate action initiatives that the town can take on. We talked about it last council meeting. Should the town look at embracing hybrid and electric vehicles going forward? I know they're more expensive, but that helps us do our part to keep these things going. We've also launched a sustainable neighborhood action plan, which is being implemented now. We've also got a transit task force going down, which is currently going to be delivering in March recommendations to Town Council on how to improve public transit.
Every Kids Park is a good
Harvey
addition
Curry,
to our community.
So that's going to be an amazing hub for families to gravitate to with the new splash pad,
Exactly.
An amazing playground area, and it's so great that we're able to continue the upgrading of our, this is infrastructure stuff, right?
Absolutely.
We're not only are we, having to upgrade the behind the scenes things like water and wastewater, but our parks and recreation departments, and we're always portioning part of the budget to keep up with new things and improve things for everybody. Another, I think, important thing that we did was we brought a land acknowledgement into our town council meeting, recognizing our indigenous peoples, historically in this area, and to pay tribute to those who are in our living in.
For reconciliation, for sure.
So what I also wanted to touch upon was fiscally, we've looked at a number of things, and one of the initiatives that you brought forward was a vacancy rebate. So for those at home that don't understand what that means, can you just elaborate on what that was and what we've done to correct what I think correct an issue?
Well, one of the things it is it just relates to industries and commercial properties where the units that sit empty, the applicants or the owners were able to apply to the town to get a 30% tax rebate for those vacant units. And in my opinion, that was encouraging the property owners or building owners to just keep them empty and not doing anything forward to try and get them filled in. And I thought, well, why should the property tax payers be subsidizing those property owners that maybe need to reconsider reduced rents or whatever? So basically, it has been eliminated. The County of Dufferin has just actually rubber stamped that and approved that be eliminated, so that property owners will no longer be getting money back from property taxes.
Right. So, as I understand it, the province a couple of years ago approved that any municipality could remove that provision, because they're the ones that put it in place.
Absolutely.
And municipal bylaws were put in place to, embrace the provincial policy, but they've said that municipalities can now remove that. And John Tory of the City of Toronto was one of the leaders in that. You can imagine what the cost would be to rebate 30% of property taxes for all the vacant commercial industrial properties in the City of Toronto. And I think it was in July 2018 that they removed that through a town council motion. And we're following on their coattails, and I think it's a good thing. This is going to keep more money in our coffers rather than giving it back to those landlords. So the other thing that I think that was important, it was quasi tax related, but it was regarding long-term care units. And we there's something called development charges, that when a new building is built, the town expects development charges to be paid, which essentially help pay for the growth of infrastructure that is required to service those new buildings. And you and I were, this is somewhat self-serving, because maybe not too far down the road, we're going to be needing those kind of facilities. So apologies for that. But I think long-term care, for anybody who's been involved in that whole system, it's difficult. And if we can incentivize private operators to come to Orangeville and build more of these
facilities here, yes, and give them a bit of a break. I think we reduced the development charges by 20%.
20%.
To encourage those long-term cares. I know myself, I've had an aged mother, and it was really difficult to find a facility for her. And I think it's very important that we keep our loved ones near us, right?
Yeah, so we talk about aging in place, where you can age gracefully in the community and around your loved ones without being shipped off to some other part of the province, which is unfortunately what happens today, because
Exactly.
we don't have enough long-term care beds in our community. So hopefully we can push that forward.
For sure.
The other interesting thing that you're involved in, I know it's a passion of yours, is Heritage Orangeville. So explain to us what Heritage Orangeville is, what it does, and what are some of the exciting things that are going on with Heritage Orangeville?
Well, it's all new to me. Being a new council member, I'm new to the committee, and of course all of our members are new, except we have one returning member, luckily, thankfully, Linda Addy, who's very knowledgeable. So we're still a learning committee, and we are learning a lot of interesting stuff, and there's so much history of Orangeville to share with people. One of the things last year, because we were a little late up and running in our committees, we accomplished was the new heritage calendar.
Right.
And this year I happen to have a copy, which is fine architecture, and I would like to give you your copy.
Thank you
Your
very much.
worship.
That's
And
wonderful.
I encourage everyone to pick up a copy at any of our town facilities. It's free, and there's some really great, great graphic designs, and to show some of the architecture of some of the
Right.
buildings of our property.
Right, all the
throughout.
detail that you see in heritage buildings, you see, I think that's Town Hall, is it not? That
Yeah,
archway?
that is.
Yeah.
The other thing we're really excited about is we're having our first historical photography exhibit. We want to work with something that showcases to the people the history of Orangeville, both in terms of people and local events. So we're looking for some historical photographs of people, places, buildings, special events, memories, and we're going to compile all this and archive it in the museum. But we're encouraging people to send any type of photographs of historical significance to heritage@orangeville.ca. We are going to be displaying this during Heritage Week, which is February 18th to the 21st, daily in the atrium of Town Hall between 8:30 and 4:30. Of course, it's free.
There's
So here's some
there's a
some
photo of
photographs
Sproul's
of
Pharmacy.
Sproul's, which
from-
is still in existence. The Sproul family are still running a new type of business there. It's not used as a drugstore, but it's still up and running. And we have lots of history to share. We've reached out to some of the local schools.
There's a
to hopefully bring them down.
Parkinson Law
Boris
Office.
Parkinson, yeah.
And so there's 3 or 4 generations of the Parkinson family
See,
involved in that building.
Exactly, and then we have. So one of the things we're reaching out. There's one of the Hughes clothing store. I don't quite remember that, but I do remember the Grand Central Hotel and the day that it came down. That was quite actually a sad day in my opinion, and I do remember the mill coming down. So, but what?
And the post office, you know,
Exactly,
you
the
see
post
pictures
office.
of the old post office.
So there's
which
the Grand Central I was mentioning.
Yeah, that's a beautiful building, and it's a shame that.
And
it
it's
was-
funny because apparently, I don't know if this is true, but I was told that when the crew demolished it, they found bags of money that had been stored in behind walls.
No kidding.
Yeah, now that, I don't know if that's a true story, but that was kind of the rumors that had gone around Town Hall, that there was bags of money stuffed here, there, and everywhere.
Wow.
By Howard McMullen, I believe, was one of
that-
the originals. So there's
Yeah.
Town of Commerce,
Now,
Bank of Commerce.
is that not
That's
where the Citizen is now?
Citizen is,
Yeah,
yes,
the Orangeville
absolutely.
Citizen is in
and
that
then
building?
they built the new replacement CIBC just to the south of it, correct?
And I think coming up in this, you're going to see the old post office.
There's the post
which-
office there. There's some unique photos of our downtown and some
And
parades.
look at how broad Broadway was back
Yep.
in the day. Of course, you know, the median's been put in place now, and
Now
a
we're
lot
got
of
some
people
paving.
love the median, and that was that photo to the bottom right. That's the first time a hard surface was put down on Broadway. Yeah.
One of the other things for Heritage that I could share with you is we have this book called The Footsteps from Our Past, and it's really unique with giving you a guided tour that you can go and see some of the designated properties throughout and give you lots of history. And it's a nice little walking tour that you want to do maybe on a nice sunny day and take your family and learn some more history of Orangeville. There's some great information in there. You can get this book at Town Hall, grab a book and go for a nice little walking tour.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So again, just to recap, these heritage photographs, you're receiving them at heritage@orangeville.ca. In February, there's going to be an exhibit of these photographs at the atrium at Town Hall during Heritage Week.
Correct.
Which is, what are the dates again?
February 18th to the 21st, and we're encouraging some of the local schools to bring their students down, and maybe part of their history curriculum would be really great.
I'm sure they will.
So we've reached out to schools to hopefully have them come.
Right. That's amazing. So just going on to some of the other highlights from this year that we had, of course, our Raptors won a championship this year. You know, Canada's team. We decided to copycat what was going on in Toronto with their Jurassic Park. We had a nice event on Mill Street, 2 or 3 of the games there, where I think the community came together. We got some nice sponsorship money for those who are interested and help support that, and I think it was a great time that we all had there. We recently had a professional women's hockey game at Alder, which was another exciting event. The Alder Arena Red Rink was packed with 800 people watching women's professional hockey, and it was fantastic. So.
And we have many great community events. And one of the things I would like to encourage people is, as they're shopping for the holiday season, that they shop downtown. We need to support and attend as many of these small privately owned businesses as possible. And of course, come to our farmers market and winter market at Town Hall.
Right. So Debbie, it's just about time we have to end this. I want to thank you for joining me today. It's been a tremendous year on council, and on behalf of all members, I want to wish everybody happy holidays and the best wishes for a safe and prosperous 2020. And thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Mayor Brown.
All the best.